I'm in no rush for another one. I don't know if anyone... I mean, some people have said to me, it was great to have it back, and I really enjoyed that. I didn't particularly. It upset me for a few days, in case, with the fear of perhaps losing, but certainly not from a footballing perspective. It wasn't great fare. But as an occasion, I really don't miss it. I don't know if I'm alone there.
It's when obviously old Rangers went out of the league, and there was always the thought that it would be an opportunity for other clubs to come up and use the opportunity to actually become bigger clubs in terms of finances and those kind of things. And I think it's probably there'd been just a little bit more money in Scottish football, not the pitiful amount that the SFA has managed to bring in. That could have happened, but I think what you see with Aberdeen and Dundee United, even though they haven't come in as far as you want them to be in terms of being any credible challengers, I think that will be, if it's something good that's going to come out for all this, it would be that you have this opportunity to bring those clubs up and make Scottish football a little bit more exciting. So in that way, I think I wouldn't mind either if it's another season after this that Rangers doesn't come up, and you can maybe solidify Aberdeen and Dundee United as bigger clubs and all that kind of thing. It's just a shame that there's not that much money around that could have been split more to them and all those kind of things. But yeah, I thought it was funny. There was my good friend on Twitter, Ewan Murray, wrote on his match report that something about Deila didn't understand his working in environments perfectly well still, because he didn't push the team to go for 3, 4, 5 and 6-0 and in the second half. And it was just, I don't know, I can understand a lot of Celtic fans maybe wanted a big score as well, but I think, as Chris is saying, it turned out to be a non-event, and almost through the game you almost got the feeling that this isn't this big a thing anymore. The first half was good, 2-0. By the second half, you go, okay, this is finished. The gap is so big, we don't really care about this game anymore. Obviously, you care in a sense of you have the bragging rights, and it's more a relief than anything else. But I think it's maybe something has changed in Scottish football in terms of, and maybe this is the manifestation of this isn't a big thing anymore, and it might be a sign that it's going to take a lot longer for Rangers to get anywhere near where they were.
I think that's a good point, actually. I think in terms of it being back, I think they would need to be on a lot more of an even keel. That's if it is ever going to come back, if you know what I mean. Because I think it quickly dawned on everyone that it was such, it was a total non-event. Not non-event. It wasn't a competition.
Yeah.
That all you've got is the newspaper usual drivel in the run up to it, and then packed, comments in every newspaper. But that really was all that there was to it. There was no substance to the actual game, and I think until they're in a stronger position whereby they're near to us or challenging us, I think it's going to remain that way.
And I thought, maybe most people thought that within a certain amount of years it would go back to the way it was. I think on Sunday was maybe the first time I thought, well, maybe it isn't. And maybe this is a permanent change in Scottish football, that Rangers will just be not any bigger than Aberdeen or Dundee United. In terms of obviously the potential, they'll always be bigger. But I wonder if it would be nice for something to come out of that where you just lift the other Scottish teams up to a level when it's not just two clubs as well. But then you get into a whole other discussion about, is then Celtic just too big for the league at all? But yeah, no, maybe this is some sort of turning point in that regard as well. It'll be interesting to see. Or in a couple of years' time, it might just be the two of them going for the championship again.
Yeah, so it's a good question. Personally, I feel Rangers will eventually have some semblance of what they once were. It will take a number of years. I think it's going to take a number of years longer than it would have, due to the fact that they've just been pillaged over and over again.
Good word.
Yeah, well, there's another word I was thinking of and I thought maybe not appropriate. But Yeah, they're a good few years away from being competitors to Celtic, so unless
and I know there's not much sympathy for Rangers fan in this room at the moment anyway, but you do think about people who complain about the Celtic board and what world they actually living in. But I mean, also you can criticise the board and they make the wrong decisions, but the reasons why Celtic is in this position now and Rangers isn't is because of the decisions that were made on a board level over the last 10, 20 years as well. And it can't be much fun watching your club be led by a bunch of, allegedly crooks and at least buffoons, and using the club for that. So, if you're generally proper Rangers fan, it must just be absolutely frustrating as well, because I don't think I've ever seen mismanagement of a club on this scale ever before. But it goes to think, you're talking about Celtic being quite prudent in the transfer markets and not spending that much money, and there's a reason for that, because the road to doing what Rangers did isn't that far.
Yeah. And our sympathies are with them.
Yes.
It's absolutely terrible.
The road to recovery.
Yes.
All the best.
Although I don't know if he looks like a buffoon, but Mike Ashley, he's making a lot of money off of them, I think.
I think Ashley's clever. I think he'll make his money in terms of that, but in terms of the people who have been there and then the people who decide things now, it's just that there's not much. They're either out to get their money's worth, or they just don't know how to run a newspaper stand.
Probably a combination of both.
He's just talking of Ashley's influence with the 5 loan signings from
just the 5
Newcastle coming up the road. That's great. I mean, he's obviously going to maximise shirt sales for both clubs. They'll come up, sell a few strips, get down to their first 11 maybe, and there you go, double the sale of strips. The man's a genius. He is.
Big Mike Ashley. So decent result, could have been better, but the referee was against us, the pitch was against us. It's like it used to be, I think.
Can I get a break? Can I get a break in this country?
So we'll have a little musical interlude and return after the break. And we'll come back after what I'm sure was a fantastic song.
I thought I was going to say toilet break there.
I don't ruin the magic, Christian, Jesus. Yes, so we kind of touched on it when we were talking about the game there. Ronny Deila did the old celebration again, loved it. Been caught, vined, filmed, videos everywhere of him dancing to Delilah, just chants on Ronny Deila. Great guy, isn't he?
Cracking guy. I'd love to go for a pint with him. Right this very second.
He's probably... It would appear that he just gets a pint every night, because it's the last couple of nights after that victory, there's been videos posting up. If it was Neil Lennon, we'd be pillorying him for being unprofessional, but it's Ronny Deila, so he's a fantastic guy. Well done, Big Ronny. But do you think this is getting him over with the Celtic fans?
Yep, I think so. I think I touched on it earlier on that he's... certain people weren't convinced with him, rightly or wrongly, earlier in the season, and I think coming off that win against Rangers, I think that first and foremost would give him carry a lot of favour with a lot of the fans, and then to see him going out and enjoying himself in the back of that, it's just made guys like us fall in love with him a bit more, and some converts. We've won a few converts over, shall we say?
I think there's two aspects to the Glasgow derby there. If he'd lost, it would be huge. It would be potentially a sackable offence. Yeah. If not, he'd be a lot closer to the exit. But as you say, getting the victory, although the scoreline wasn't huge, it was a convincing victory. And then to see the passion from him after it, I think certainly put him over. And the fact that we're now starting to see the season progress. He's still in all the cups. We've got a final. We're still in the Europa League. We're ahead in the league. I think it's kind of coming together for Ronny a little bit. We do have a question on Twitter specifically for Christian from Stephen Redos 22. I'm going to say Redos 22. Your expectations of Deila, are they being realised, or would you say he's behind / ahead of schedule? Thanks, very polite as well.
Well, as you know, I've never been a big Deila fan, but I think I've been in Scotland long enough now to Varant, make fun of that Scottish stereotype that what was really needed for Deila to be accepted was being seen out being completely pushed and dancing like a maniac, which seems like a very Scottish kind of acceptance thing.
I would protest, but...
See, his next stage has got to be to do the slosh, and then that's him.
But on the question, I think, what were my expectations? I think roughly they are what I thought they'd be. I never thought that